Hey YouTubers, so today we're going to be talking about something a little different. Now, if you've been following me for at least a little bit, you know that I've been doing kind of stepping out from Dragon Ball and anime a little bit and starting to cover stuff that I actually like outside of that, be it most likely, Saw and horror films for the most part. And I am today joined by MJ. We're going to be covering basically the new Halloween film and the big news announcement we got a couple days ago, whenever this goes up, but a couple days from even that when we're recording. Anyway, MJ, why don't you say hello, man?
What's going on, man? I'm ready to talk about some Halloween. Let's do this right now, man. Come on.
There you go. Like sometimes you have to coax them into being super into it and everything. Now, before we get into this, before we actually start reading this, talking about this. Actually, I just want to basically read out the tweet that we got from. It was a tweet. No, this was Facebook, something, Instagram. I don't know.
It's from Carpenter. It's from Carpenter.
Yeah. Okay. I was getting to that, but yeah, like we got a confirmation from John Carpenter. For those who do not know, the original director and creator of the Halloween franchise. For those who are pretty inundated with this, people who are watching this or maybe not be watching this anyway. Guy's a legend. Guy is a legend. In fact, my favorite film of his, before we get into this, and tell me yours in the comment section below, The Thing. Best remake ever made.
I was going to say that, The Thing. I love that fucking film.
It's so good. It's so good. And there's a reason why it's that good, but it's not this video. Anyway, so basically, he says, so you want a revolution? I want to shake things up and bring. You want to shake things up and bring back Halloween and make it rock again. Make Halloween great again. Hashtag make Halloween great again. Well, so do I. And here's the announcement we've all been waiting for: David Gordon Green and Danny McBride are joining the project to complete the creative team. David and Danny will write. David and Danny will write the script together, and David will direct. I will continue my executive producer role to consult and offer my advice and feedback as needed. Okay, he says more, but I'll just post the link for this to everyone who's interested. Anyway, David Gordon Green and Danny McBride making a Halloween movie. Now, for anyone who doesn't know who David Gordon Green is, guys, he is the director of some of the raunchiest comedies of the last decade. So this is the creative team basically behind Eastbound and Down, a very popular HBO series. If you haven't seen it, probably one of their funniest shows they've ever produced. And then,
I would like to throw out, if you have an HBO subscription, you can watch season 1 to 3. So just letting you know, I recommend it. I recommend it. Very awesome show.
and then also went on to direct with Danny McBride and others. That Rat Pack group of comedians, including James Franco and Seth Rogen and all those other people, basically directing things like Pineapple Express and Your Highness, which both of those are really funny. Also, The Sitter, which I never really saw. I actually
think that's one of the most, underplayed films in my opinion. Like when you look back at that Rat Pack and you look back at those films from like 2006 all the way like 2012, I think The Sitter is really one of the ones that were underplayed. I liked it. Some people may disagree with me, but I liked it. I just want to throw that out there.
And you know what? One of the things I want to talk about a little bit, I haven't necessarily seen this movie in a very long time, but he actually directed Snow Angels. Did you ever see that film?
I don't even recall that film.
Oh man, okay. It was a movie starring Kate Beckinsale and Sam Rockwell back in the day. Like 10 years ago, 2007 anyway.
That's still trippy. 07 was 10 years ago.
Am I right? Seriously, holy crap. But good film. I really liked that film, actually. I just remembered that right now. I was looking up, trying to see okay, what's his filmography and everything. So if you haven't seen that film, it's pretty good. And I won't spoil anything for it now. You can go see it for yourself if you really want to. But yeah, let's just get into this. What is this? I'm kind of floored by this announcement myself. MJ, what are your thoughts?
I mean, we were just listing off some of the films here, and I am a big fan of Green, so I love his films. I love The Sitter, I love Pineapple Express. I do love Your Highness, you know what I mean? And I'm not worried about the fact that he's on the team. I'm not worried about that. I think he can produce a great team, and like you mentioned earlier, Carpenter's still going to be the executive producer, and he also mentioned that he's going to be working on the music, so Carpenter's going to be there. You know what I mean? He's going to be right there with them as far as putting the film together, actually making this a complete movie. But at the same time, it is a bit baffling. You know, it's kind of like a head scratcher, like, I would not have expected this shit. You know what I mean? Like, I think the one that really surprises me is McBride. Now, I know people, when they probably saw this, were probably freaking out because McBride's a known comedic actor. But he's also mentioned, I'll try and find a link and send it to Real, that way he can post it. But I remember reading something, I think it was earlier today, where McBride did say that the Halloween movie will not be funny and it will not be a remake. I believe they're going strictly after 1 and 2, which, if I remember correctly, Carpenter didn't direct 2, the one with the hospital, but I think he looked over it. I think he was like the producer of it. I could be wrong, but he was not the director. I'm pretty sure he was still involved in it, so I believe they're gonna carry off from 2. Now, that's gonna cause a lot of problems, because that was one of the reasons why people did not like some of the other films, because they thought the ending to part 2 was a good ending, you know, with Michael being dead, like dying in the hospital in that fire explosion. So people thought that was a fine ending and blah, blah, blah. There's been mixed reviews on Halloween 2, but they seem to be wanting to carry the sequel, or this is going to be I guess like a trilogy. They're going to like conclude 1 and 2. I'm not sure if they're retconning all of the other ones. I may be jumping ahead there. Who knows? We may get more info, but
they've done that before. I mean, Halloween has been, for the most part, Halloween has been kind of ridiculous with its continuity, more so even than Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street. It's just screw it. Third one has nothing to do with anything. Then we get back on track, and then it like just screw it, and then just remake it. It has been all over the place for the most part. I mean, say what you want about the other like kind of staples of the whole tall dark stranger slasher film. Trio or Rat Pack for that one, but honestly, Halloween's all over the place, and it would be good for them to basically just ignore the greater portion of the series at this point.
Yeah, I can definitely see why they want to just stick with 1 and 2 and continue from there, which I'm perfectly fine with, but just going by what McBride said, I think I have faith. It's not going to be a funny film. It's not going to be a remake. It's just going to be Carpenter kind of picking up where he left off, and now he has Green to sort of direct everything, and you have McBride there as a co-writer, so I'm kind of happy with it. I don't know what you think about it. What do you think?
I don't know, man. Like, okay, at least you talk about 7 years ago. I mean, that was the time we were getting Halloween first remake, the first like legitimate remake from Rob Zombie. Yeah, and a lot of people hate that film, and I could see why. It's not necessarily the greatest film ever. Instead of kind of repurposing it for a newer modern age, they decided to kind of delve into what made Michael. Giving him a backstory, giving him, even as mute as it was, giving him a decent personality, or at least some kind of motivation for why he did what he did, making him legitimately human, versus like the basically demon monster he became throughout the entire series. I've seen
people say over the years recently that, like in comment sections, like when you go look up clips of like the Halloween remake, I've seen people say that for years we wondered why Michael was like that. But yet, maybe it's just one of those things that it's just supposed to be left unanswered, And
I think that's really the point I was getting to. Is that's one of the ways people really did not like the film. For the most part, I understand. When you take slasher villains, especially someone as like mute as Michael or Jason, they don't necessarily become jokes of themselves. The world around them becomes jokes, but since they have no personality, there's nothing really to make them silly, like someone like Freddy or Chucky or something. But at the same time, the one thing you can do with that is kind of delve into the past of them. And I guess that's what Zombie and all of them wanted to do with that remake. But like you said, the problem with that is that, you start seeing the monster behind the curtain, or the man behind the curtain for the most part, and you think to yourself, well, this isn't really scary anymore. Like, I know his motivation. And what makes these boogeymen scary is that you don't know their motivation. They just kill. And it's one of the reasons the sequels do worse and worse, and they get more and more ridiculous as they go along, because it just starts getting less and less believable. Personally, I don't know. Like, personally, I don't necessarily know what they're going to be doing. Now, is David Gordon Green and Danny McBride, are they good for the roles? I think so, for the most part, because a lot of people do, like you said, kind of equate Danny McBride to a comedic role. But while that's true, he's also done a lot of serious roles, and also he's also done his fair share of horror films. A lot of people probably are sleeping on the fact that he's actually going to be a part of the new Alien movie coming out this year. So yeah, so he has a diverse range, more so than a lot of people that he works with. He would kind of, to me, be kind of in the same level of Jonah Hill. Probably not the same level of Jonah Hill. The guy's been nominated for 2 Oscars at this point, criminally more than Gary Oldman. But that's a topic for another day.
I get what you're saying. He's very smart, and he's also very versatile, not only on the screen but behind the screen as well. In my opinion.
Yeah, no, he is. And David Gordon Green is interesting too. I mean, yeah, they're more likely to be considered comedians for the most part, but I think he's proven himself to be a pretty decent director when it comes to action sequences and everything on a tight budget, or even all that other stuff. I mean, look at the stuff they were able to accomplish on the budget they did on stuff like I said, I haven't seen it, but I've seen clips on The Sitter and basically Pineapple Express and all this stuff. He's able to achieve things you really wouldn't necessarily consider or think were going to be in a straight up comedy.
Yeah, so, that's true.
I think he does have a range that we're not necessarily seeing. And personally, one of the reasons I would, but just breaking it down before I throw it back over to you, the one reason I think I'm excited for this is a lot of people kind of put on the brakes when they hear that comedians are going to be taking on horror films. But at the same time, like, the way I've always looked at it is horror and comedy are basically 2 sides of different ends, and they both sway or swing heavily towards one side or the other, but it is that kind of exaggeration that makes them so appealing. So if you take someone who has kind of a history and can understand the ridiculousness or the subtleties of making a good comedy, then it would be really interesting to see them basically explore something in such great detail and depth as a horror film.
And definitely.
Try to make that transition and see if it actually goes. Now, people do this, not necessarily all the time, but it is something interesting to look out for, and hopefully they do something good with it. But what are your thoughts?
I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there with the remakes that Zombie worked on. I think they just made him too human, and I hope they don't do that in this. I guess called the third film. I guess, I don't know if they're picking up from the second one. I hope they don't make him too human, because that was one of the flaws, in my opinion, in both those remakes, is the way they casted Michael. Like, they made him this huge, like, 7-foot monster, and we didn't really need that, because, like, Michael in the first film, he was a very, not scrawny, he was still a big person, but he was nonetheless very scrawny compared to the remake Michael. Let's just put it that way. And yet he was still freakishly strong, and he could, like, survive bullets. So it's like, it had that demon mystery element. Like, what was this thing? What was this thing behind the mask? And the fact that Carpenter is going to be involved in this, and from the looks of it heavily, I really hope they pick up from that and they don't try to go with the human route, like the more human element of the film. But yeah, I completely agree with you on the Green part. I love Green's choice of, I guess, backdrops, if you will, in Pineapple Express. That's one of the reasons why I love that film. I really did like the choosing of the locations and stuff, and the way they just made the film look. I kind of like that element to Pineapple Express, and I'm a huge fan of McBride, so having him come up here and actually co-write, I'm actually pretty excited about that. I really am, because I just have high hopes for this. You know what I mean? I've been wanting a Halloween film for a while, so a newer one anyways. So I am interested. The one thing I really am interested in, though, is, are they going to pick it up strictly where it left off? Or are we going to get, like, an older Jamie? You know what I mean? Like, I wonder how they're going to do it. That's what really intrigues me. Like, what do you think would be the best option for, if they really are just going to pick up strictly from where 2 left off, Halloween 2?
Well, the problem with that really is the fact that they've already done that. I mean,
Yeah,
straight up, they've
true.
already taken on that situation where, just erase everything off the board besides Halloween 1 and 2 and do pick up in the future.
That's true.
Present day, and I'm not necessarily opposed to them doing something like that. I just feel that you run the risk of feeling like been there, done that, and it becomes even more apparent or even more of a focal point to kind of avoid when you're talking about stuff like a slasher film. Because you could have films like back in 2009, you can have films where they release, they release the new Friday the 13th movie and, the remake, and it opens up really big. People are excited. Oh my God, I want to see another Friday the 13th film. Opens up over 40 million and then crash and burns. And we haven't seen a new film since. It's just too hard to get off the ground, too much money. There's not money in it. Movies that open up big and crash hard don't draw a lot of confidence, even though, the first weekend in most of our situations in box office wise are what drives the culture. At the same time, you had the same problem with things like the original Halloween movie, which, the original Halloween remake in 2007, that one actually held on for a long time, but then the sequel, crashed and burned. Or you had the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street, which opened up to around 30 million and then basically crashed and burned, and we haven't heard anything from it since, even though all those films had, we're going to make a sequel immediately, it's going to be awesome and everything. And personally, I think the biggest thing they're going to have to worry about is the fact that it's going to be hard. It's going to be so unbelievably hard to take someone like Michael Myers, as iconic as he is, and keep him relevant in today's age of horror films. Horror movies evolve really quickly, more quickly than most things besides comedy. They don't necessarily, we're always going to have like really dramatic films and everything, like period pieces and stuff, but even though those things evolve, basically the same tropes over and over and over again. But horror movies kind of go from slasher films so overplayed that we're making movies like Scream and everything that's just really meta humor, to J-horror, to torture porn, to found footage, to, back to the remake gauntlet and all this other stuff, back to haunted houses. People get sick of things, and the problem with Michael or Jason or Freddy, all those other people, Chucky, is the fact that killing people just like on a knife or someone who doesn't have a personality gets old really quickly. So they're going to have to try to figure out how to kind of tiptoe around that in today's new age type of filmmaking, where people want or expect more from their horror films. So, I don't necessarily know. Personally, I think one of the things they could really do to, like you were saying, to help this is just probably pick it up during today, like present day, and probably have Jamie Lee Curtis. In my opinion, she would probably be the best one. She is so lovable.
If they want to capture nostalgia, I'm pretty sure they're gonna be trying to get her on the film. In my opinion,
with her current involvement with Scream Queens and everything, it feels like she is still in that mindset. She's nostalgic herself, and
yeah,
I like literally. I like Halloween. I will see this movie when it comes out, but if Jamie Lee Curtis is in this film, I think I'll jump at it much quicker than I would have. She was sorely missed, in my opinion, with the remakes. So
yeah, I agree with you on that. It's interesting though. I'm pretty sure, I want to bet she'll be in the film. Like 99% sure that she'll be in it, but it makes me wonder: will she reprise her role as Laurie, or will they write her into an actual other role? Like have her be like Laurie's, I don't know. Or will she be like another woman playing like a mother to like Laurie's kid or something like that? Or playing like maybe Laurie died, and I'm just really interested. I know it's real too early, but I really want to hear the story on this, especially since I found out that they're picking it up after 2. You know what I mean? I want to see like what the settings they'll put it in and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they can really play it however they want. I mean, it's movie logic. Their movie logic isn't always the best logic. Personally, I feel like true. I just want her in the film. Honestly, I feel like she's needed. She's more important to me than the Michael Myers mask. The Will Shatner spray painted mask. So, like, honestly, I don't know. I honestly don't know one way or the other, but I really hope that she takes, for the most part, she just actually comes back.
When we go see Logan, I'm bringing that Shatner mask with me.
Don't do that. Don't do that at all. When I go see Saw Legacy, though, I'm buying myself like a pig mask costume. Like, I'm going to see it like that. I know I'm going to do that.
Guys, comment down below. He doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to do that.
Anyway, guys, I think we're just going to leave it at that. Tell us what you think about this news in the comment section below. Are you happy about it? Do you think this is kind of a 180, a bad idea? Is it better than Zombie? I mean, I think a lot of people are going to say it's better than Zombie. So anyway, MJ, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, man, it was completely awesome. I hope we gave a lot of your commenters and sub bases some ear orgasms, man. But
ear orgasms. Anyway, guys, go check out MJ. It doesn't necessarily cover content like that, but like this. But he's always willing to come in and talk about it with me. For more Dragon Ball content, go make sure to go check out him. Anyway, we'll check y'all later. Bye.